that leads into my second topic that I wanted to talk about tonight.
Right.
And I talked about, if you remember a while back, we were talking about the new player experience, right? And I mentioned, you know what? You go to Steam and you look up all the expansions to play Destiny. And it was like, remember, it was like $300 or $400 to buy all the expansions. And
It
I
wasn't
said,
all the expansions, to be fair. That was like add-on packs of cosmetics,
Okay.
and like different versions of same
I
expansions.
understand.
But yes,
But it was hundreds of dollars. Let's just say that. It was hundreds of dollars for the new player to get in and experience all the content that we've experienced. And I said,
it wasn't. It was just they didn't know any better what they had to get or not get.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, JD Kent. Destiny will be remembered as an innovator, and I agree. I mean, because when I ran away from Call of Duty to play Destiny because I was so burnt out. Talk about fatigue. I was so burnt out on Call of Duty.
Wait, the rest are imitators? That's a little unfair. Some are imitators, but
biased.
there's a lot of good games that are.
He might be biased, but I mean, he's a Destiny player like me. I mean, but my point is I mentioned,
but not the rest.
If you go back, I don't even know what episode it was. I can look it up, but there was an episode where I said this is so easy to fix. All Destiny has to do is what World of Warcraft has already done. Just pay your $14.99 a month, because you're going to pay $100, right? You're going to pay $100 for the whole expansion and everything. Why not just string it out and just have people pay per month in a subscription model? Just have people pay a subscription. They can jump in. Now, I did also put a caveat in there that you should be able to earn tons of bright dust, things that you acquire in the game if you dismantle them, like sparrows and stuff like they used to before Shadowkeep. You would get a ton of bright dust refunded to you because it's something you didn't want. I miss those days. And you had like everyone all the time would have 30, 100,000 pieces of bright dust in their inventory. And then they can go in Eververse and buy whatever they want. My stipulation was get rid of silver, get rid of all the monetization, just make it $14.99 or $12.99 or whatever we decided on it a month. This is your entertainment. You pay your subscription every month and everything's open to you. And even of the Eververse store, which has really good stuff and things like that. But you have earnable bright dust, a much more earnable than in game right now, that you can go and buy whatever cosmetics you want. That is a long-term game right there. And, World of Warcraft's been doing it longer than Bungie has, and I figured it was a great idea. Well, ran across a story this week from Zuad Ali, and he said Destiny 2 subscription model was reportedly pitched by the Bungie leadership, but the staff vehemently rejected it. And this is a short article, so I'll just read it. A new report reveals that Bungie leadership pitched a subscription model for Destiny 2, but staff strongly rejected the idea. It's been a wild few weeks for Bungie. The studio has found itself in hot water over a major art theft controversy tied to its upcoming game Marathon. Accusations are flying a lot that the game's visuals were lifted directly from an independent artist, Anti-Real, leading to Bungie's getting dubbed art raiders online. But as the controversy picked up steam, more stories about life at Bungie started to come out. Lately, ex-Bungie employees have started sharing their experiences, describing a toxic work culture where leadership reportedly ignored staff feedback and often dismissed any ideas that didn't come from the top. Now a new report has shed light on some of the decisions that Bungie leadership pitched for its flagship title, Destiny 2. They said Destiny 2 was almost turned into a subscription game. Journalist and creator Destin Legere with IGN had a video titled Inside Bungie's Decline. Former devs speak out. According to Destin, who spoke to several Bungie employees, Bungie leadership did in fact consider a subscription model for Destiny 2. This wasn't just some offhand suggestion. It was actually brought up in a meeting. But as Legere reports, the team's response was anything but quiet. In one meeting, adding a subscription to the Destiny was brought up only to be vehemently shut down by staff, one former employee told him. It's not just the subscription talk that left a bad taste. Other employees told Legere that Bungie's management had been obsessed with monetization. One example is that some leaders were apparently worried that the Trials of Osiris PvP armor in Destiny 2 looked too good, fearing it might make players less likely to spend money in the Eververse store, which sells cosmetics for real cash. Another former employee claimed that there was a concern about Trials of Osiris PvP armor being too attractive with its glow effect, Legere said in the video. The worry was that it was too good and would impact Eververse sales. Staff also recalled being scolded about monetization in internal meetings and described an atmosphere where making money often seemed to take priority over player satisfaction. All of this coming to a head as Destiny 2's next major expansion, Edge of Fate, launches on July 15th. With everything going on, fans are starting to wonder, is Bungie losing sight of what made Destiny 2 special in the first place? So what do you guys think of that? What's your feedback on that?
I don't even know why this article is written this way. Okay, first of all, I remember this isn't new news. We actually had a leak a few years ago that they were considering the subscription model. So I don't know why they claim this is new news now. I remember talking about it. Cindy, you remember? I think we did on TGH. There was, the Destiny leak discords and stuff. Something came out where we knew for sure that they were considering this. So this isn't new news to me. But what's interesting is the fact, fair is fair. The fact that they said that, there's been so many articles lately about how, and I generally agree, but how management's the main problem with Bungie, right? Like employees will give them suggestions, especially on the marathon side, and management will not do it.
Right.
Well, this is the opposite now. Management wanted to have the subscription, but all the employees said no. So they listened to the employees, according to this article.
Well,
so fair is fair. The management does listen sometimes to the employees.
Yep.
Maybe not enough to really ultimately matter or not. And then my last point is, but then more on the big picture, I'm not surprised because even though Todd and I have been on the agreement as there should be a subscription model, if I had to guess, a majority, and it may not be a huge majority, but something higher, 50%, probably don't like that idea. So I'm not surprised that the employees also felt that way.
Yeah. I really wonder how management has changed since Sony took over, because these are early times they're talking about here, pretty early times. But I have such a great topic for next week, and I don't want to spoil it, but it kind of relates to this. I'm not going to talk about it. But King Sin, what do you think, man?
I was going to say these are employees, right? Talking out about their managers and the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So being a manager myself, you also have to be able to decipher when employees are whining.
Right.
And maybe maybe their ideas are being pushed down, but maybe management has done it for so long and maybe they're just not expressing their side of the story well and trying to get everybody on board.
Me too.
So I work with a bunch of whiny people. It's
tell us how you feel,
regardless if it's any store, right?
I know, I hear you.
Well, you have employees that think they know better than everybody else.
Boy, do I!
But they can't sell a car or sell to save their lives, right?
I'll talk.
They're just not really good at what they do. They're all talk. Yes, maybe they might have some valid points on some things, but at the end of the day, if they're not executing, where's the proof, right? So I don't know. I think that you might get the whiny people or the squeaky wheel in this case is going to probably be what the media is going to talk about the most. So
yeah, and it is a media story.
Take what they say with a grain of salt is really what I'm trying to say.
I always do that. That's why.
Isn't it the case where the employees were validated, actually? Because they said that.
Yeah.
But isn't this a case, the story's telling us the employees were validated this time? Like, they all didn't want it and management listened to them this time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. My idea of a subscription model was, let's keep the complexity out of it and let's quit nickel and diming players that think about, I like to play this game, but then they have to play, I have an alt account and I'm jumping in and I want to do the DSC raid. Well, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get the mission to get the red bars or whatever, I think the one for Garden of Salvation too. Said, no, you got to have this pack. I'm like, oh, come on, man. That pack is so old now. Now, fair is fair. I think it was like for $30, you can buy everything now. They've reduced the prices on everything where it's very affordable. $2.99, $3.99. I think it's $14.99 for Final Shape now. So, I mean, it's very affordable now. I mean, if you compare it to other game expansions and other games out there that are available. But the way I had it set up is $14.99 a month, which, let's face it, most people can afford that. I mean, that's That's a Netflix
I
subscription,
would have
right?
done lower. I would have done like
Well, that's fine.
12-ish a month.
Well, sure. I'm not sticking to the $14.99. I'm saying around the teens a month. I mean, that's what people are paying for a Netflix subscription, or maybe a little bit more than a Peacock subscription or whatever. But and then they don't have to worry about monetization. But you think about it. Bungie has to pay these employees. Why not have the cash flow coming in every month? Because I mean, I'm in that business. I run a route business. I have a monthly flow of cash that I count on, and I have repeatable business. But subscription models is very much like that. You can even forecast
the employees potentially.
Well, but I mean, it guarantees the employees pay, because instead of investing all this money from investors or big companies and then hoping that you sell enough product to pay everybody back and make a profit to the corporation, why not just string out that income over the year? Then you're guaranteed you're making that money every year. But you have to fucking quit monetizing every damn little thing in the game. Make it all open. Bright Dust is a great idea. I love Bright Dust. I still hoard it like I can't like there's no tomorrow. I try to buy shaders and stuff, but make it available where you can get Bright Dust refunded like before Shadowkeep, and actually go back into Eververse, which is it's a good place to go in there and spend your hard-earned time in the game with your Bright Dust. You sound like you want to say something. Sin?
No, I mean, to me, the whole subscription versus paying for it once for the year, to me, if they equal the same, it's one versus the other at that point. Bungie's going to get the same amount regardless. They may end up getting less on the subscription model for those who say, I want to only pay for this for 3 months to play,
right,
and now when I'm burned out, I'm going to go play something else. That I could see as being a hindrance in the subscription model for Bungie for somebody who only wants to play a couple months at a time.
And
where they would get more in the long run is, you remember, this is probably why a lot of people don't like the subscription model, is when you stop paying for it, you don't have access to anything.
Well, that's true, but that's the trade-off. So it's a trade-off.
So that would stop some people from going away after 3 months. You know what I mean? And some people still will, but other people that want to keep playing Destiny, that would normally be like, okay, I'm not sure if I want the new expansion yet, another $80, but I want to keep all my current stuff, so I got to keep paying my $12 a month, or else I lose everything. So that's where the subscription model, they make more money right there.
And another item that came up too was how do you create a manifold where your people who have already paid in for the whole year, how do you integrate them into that subscription? I think we would have to offer.
We've answered that before.
Yeah, we'd have to offer like free months or like prorated a subscription
or extra benefits for them.
Something.
But also the way to think about it is just other services have switched to subscription down the road, and they're like, sorry, but it's just what it is now for any new stuff, new players or old players. This is now what you have to pay. I'm a little less convinced that it's the right decision these days, because just things are so messed up with Bungie, but I'm a huge proponent of this model, as you know, at least when I started considering it a couple of years ago and stuff. So
I just, from a business standpoint, because I own and operated my own business, and I just think this is such a safe bet. I mean, think about it. If you think about the future, if you say you like A24 movies, right, Kingsley? What if there was a subscription to A24, and every movie they
only
make,
if HBO stopped offering it.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
There.
But any A24 movie that they make, wherever you can get it anywhere, you can go to the theater to watch it. You have a voucher that you've paid. You have a subscription. You show them your card. You do whatever. I mean, that's what AMC's doing right now. It's what they're all doing. It's all about showing the ticket you've already pre-bought through your subscription model, and you go. There's no cash to worry about because they're taking it out of your checking account automatically every month. But that just seems like that's such a smart way to go. As far as, I mean, for all gaming systems out there, but a lot of guys are like, I'm not going to pay $40 for Marathon. No, that should be a free to play game, right? I know I'm jumping around, but
so what do you think, Todd, that if the assumption, now this could be incorrect, but the assumption is a majority or no one of the employees wanted it. So how do you account for that? Do you think they're all wrong? I mean,
no, I think,
why do you think they thought that?
I think if management approached it differently and they said, listen, we want to go to a subscription model because that's going to guarantee that you guys get paid every week. or every 2 weeks, or every month, or however they've got it set up.
That sounds a little blackmail-y, but it's kind of true too.
But I mean, guaranteed money every month versus we're going to crunch and get this game to release on this date, and everyone keep their fingers crossed that we make enough sales to pay everybody back. Otherwise, our studio goes boom. That's such a wild. It's just like the movie studios, man. They invest all this money in these movies, and they don't even make their money back. You're not going to last very long doing that. I mean, I don't care how big a company you are. You will not be able to carry losses for very long unless you automatically want to write them off against your tax base, but against your taxes at the end of the year. But it's just not a sustainable model. And man, I really want to talk about this some more, but it's going to get into my topic for next week, and I'm just going to leave it there. Any final words about this before we go?
Well, I'm just curious why they thought to release this article and what we're supposed to think of it. Are we supposed to? I think the average person reading this article agrees with the employees. Unfortunately, they probably think like, yeah, it was good they didn't do this subscription model, but I know it's a lot more nuanced than that.
I didn't finish. Yeah, I didn't finish.
What was the point of this whole article? Because first of all, to me, again, this wasn't new news. I already kind of knew this. The only thing that was new was I
didn't know
that supposedly the employees didn't want it. That's the thing that was new to me.
I did that was the major story. I think they're piling on because Bungie's in the dumps right now as far as PR and as far as the studio.
So they're piling on that because probably most people in the world don't want a subscription. They're like, this could have happened, but then still it's good news because they didn't do it. So people should be happy that they didn't do it.
Now, see, I didn't finish my thought. If no, it's not your fault. It's my fault because I wandered again. If management would have said, listen, we're done nickel and diamond, everybody. No more Eververse, no more silver. We're getting it out. It's out of the game. Everything is going to be included in the game. You don't have to have this big wall of text and itemizing every little thing you got to pay for to play content. We're just going to release our content and we're going to count on our Bungie base to pay our salaries monthly. If they would approach it that way, I think the employees would have grasped it. I think they would have.
I don't know, because there's still people in our community when you've said that in the past that haven't agreed. So do you really think all the employees would?
I mean, Cam makes a good point. If they have good content and they're dedicated to their projects, a subscription model gives them the MMR needed to support hiring. It could result in better content. And let's face it, if you don't like the movie or you're not liking the movies you're seeing at AMC, you're going to quit paying for that subscription. You're going to say, it's just not worth going to the theaters anymore. All the movies are shit. So I'm just going to wait for stuff to come out in streaming where I'm already paying so much a month. It makes perfect sense. For me, it works. It works for everybody. The management's covered. Sony sees their paycheck. They see their income coming in, every month. They have a forecastable income that they can even show to their investors. Sony can say, listen, we're getting $1 million. Let's just say we're getting $50 million every month from our subscribers from this. Investors are going to go, man, that's great. We need to invest more in Sony because this is a fantastic model. Anyway, I'll leave it at there. I'll leave it at that. But I just thought it was a good idea. And I just think management, of course, probably dropped the ball on how they handled it in that meeting. I don't know how they, I wasn't there. I don't know how they formulated this argument to, if they were going to do a subscription model and make you pay everything in Eververse for silver and this and that, and I don't know how that would work. I would see.
It's so silly because I don't know why management listened to the employees then this time when all the other times they didn't listen, they made worse decisions. Mm-hmm. So they should have held to their guns, I guess, then in this situation, if you wanted the subscription model. It's just so weird to me. Like are they just bipolar over there? Like,
I don't know.
They have bad ideas and employees say no and they do them. And they have a potentially good idea that at least some of us agree with here. And then employees say no, and they still don't do it. So they do it sometimes when employees say no. They don't do it other times when employees say no. It's just so bipolar,
Yeah. Yeah, the shields over their pictures, guys, just for the chat who's wondering what that is. That I'm actually capturing their instances in the Discord. This is my webcam. It's a separate source. That's why you don't see a shield on my name. Yeah, they're the Shield Brothers. There we go. Bring it back, Bungie. Shield Brothers, bring it back.